Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Live at 9:45, hosted by me, Adam Van Ord of Van Ord Customs. Thank you all for tuning in this week. If you haven't been here before, it's a live question-answer show where I interview some of the more prominent or interesting people inside of the Scale RC crawling community. Tonight, I have on Joe Perea. Hopefully, I got it right. I'm watching them on the thing right now, and I'm pretty sure it's not. So, I apologize, Joe, in advance because I can see his face right there. And so he also has a special guest with him that I found out was going to be on. Scott McKee is on as well. We're going to be talking about the SORRCA Scale Nationals that are going to be going on in New Mexico this year. And so lots of information, lots to talk about in that realm. And with that stated, I'll get this thing fired up and running here. Let me bring them on and get going. So, all right, gentlemen. So how is it going this evening?
What is going on, everybody? How you doing tonight?
Hi, guys.
Well, I'm doing well. I think they're doing well, too. Let me bring their stuff up so I can see if they've got any questions, so on and so forth. All right, so let's just start this thing out with tell us a little bit about you guys. So tell us about yourselves. Take turns, and we'll go from there.
Go first?
Go ahead, man.
Okay. Joe Perea, I'm 46, I think. I need to stop and count these days, but single, not married, never been married, no kids. I do have a furry child back here. That's my kid. I have a couple nieces, so I enjoy hanging out with them. I work for Johnson Controls as a sales representative, primarily in the mechanical industry, so large chilling systems, air handlers, building automation, that kind of thing. I've been doing that about 8 years. Prior to that, I was in the security and fire business, did that for about 15 years. So that's kind of all I got.
Scott McKee, got a few kids, well, 3 kids, a couple grandkids. 48.
48?
Yeah, just it's nothing special about me, man. I'm just a regular old dude. Work with Honeywell, been there for 10 years, do building automation, mainly with HVAC. Other than that, like to have fun.
Awesome.
He's got many accolades. But we won't discuss
Don't
those
use
today.
big words, man.
Use big words. I love big words. Go for it, man. So how long have you guys been in the hobby? I guess that's fielded toward both of you.
Let's see. I probably got in. I was probably 12 years old. A buddy of mine, his dad got him an RC10, and they used to race. So I remember him taking me out to the track one time, and I was pretty much hooked after that. But a funny story, when I was probably 16, 17 years old, I just had my license and took my family car out. Me and some friends, we were screwing around. We wanted to make it peel out. Well, this was an old school Ford Fairmont inline 6. And the only way to make one of those peel out, because it's automatic, is to neutral drop it. So I did that. And when I did that, I blew out the torque converter, and we didn't have a family car. So I ended up having to sell my RC collection in order to pay to fix the transmission. And then I was out for ever. And then probably 10 years ago, I was helping my nephew. He had a little low CSC truck, and I helped him fix it. And I was all into it, man. I was like, brushless motors, electronic ESCs, what the hell's going on here? So I've been back in it for probably 10 years. But
Awesome.
Myself, I remember RCs from when I was a young kid. After I got a little older, my memory's kind of fuzzy, but we had a lot of, what do you call them, the Cox engine motors and stuff, and it turned one way, and actually had a plane that you flew on the string and ran around in circles. Of course, got into my teenage years, and went into rock and roll and music and what follows with that. And so I was out of RC for quite a while. Got back into it just shortly after my wife had passed, right around 2000, 2001. just as something to fill the time, fill the void, and been going ever since.
What was your first hobby grade RC?
I think got a Frog. I think was the first one I had, and then I went to a Grasshopper, a Hornet. Eventually, saved up enough to get an RC10, and I raced that a little bit. But I think that was probably all I had, hobby wise.
You know, yeah, there was. I don't know if you'd call the things back in the late '70s hobby grade, but had some of those. Honestly, can't remember anything we had. Like I said, at that point, we did have a bunch of motors, combustible motors. So, first hobby grade RC, I guess, was probably Traxxas in like 2000, 2001. I love the Go Fast Bashers. It is just put as much power to it and nail it, you know, and just have fun.
This guy has about, I would say, 6 or 7 Rebos in his hobby room, just spread everywhere, parts everywhere. We got one going the other night. It was actually pretty fun. Would only turn one way, but we got it.
Sounds like a good time. I used to take, so I had a Slash for a while, and I would take my dog to the baseball diamond, and I'd run him around the baseball diamond. So like just basically doing huge power slides all the way around the baseball diamond. He'd run for like 45 minutes and sleep for 3 days. It was amazing.
Perfect.
I actually so I ran into a guy at the baseball diamond. And what is that thing? Like the most expensive dog toy you will ever buy. Tried to sell him on one, totally didn't. But he was definitely intrigued. All right, so if you guys weren't into RC, what do you think your hobby of choice would be?
Farming.
Yeah.
Farming.
Gotta get the quotes in there.
I don't know. For me, you know, I like being creative. I like working with metal, so probably something, you know, more metal art, wood mixing with metal, and just doing, you know, artsy fartsy type stuff. I'd probably do more of that. I do some of that, but I'd probably do more of that.
Yeah, you know, it's as you get older, you kind of have to drop some hobbies. I used to love going out and rock crawling, like climbing with my hands and feet, you know.
Spider monkey.
48, it's getting a little hard, you know. It's a little bit more demanding than I enjoy, so it's just not fun for me anymore. I've always liked shooting guns. I'm not a big, huge, avid gun collector or anything, but it's fun, you know. Me and my buddies used to have little competitions with their 22s, put a wooden match out there and see who could light it the furthest away without knocking it over. You know, so it was just always been into competition, no matter what it was.
Right on, which would make sense for you guys hosting a competition. Also, for people who don't typically follow you guys a lot inside of what you build and what you do build scale trucks, and I've seen a bunch of scale trucks, but you also build some killer comp crawlers, and you guys are very involved in the comp crawler scene in your area. And so I would say more than likely that's probably more so what you're known for than being like super involved in the scale scene as well. So
I would agree.
Yeah. I mean, you guys post the comp crawlers that like I drool over when I'm going through all these feeds, and then I go, oh, I want to build one so bad, and then I realize that no one here runs one, and so then I'm like, oh, if I build it, I will just run it with myself. Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
I know you guys tell me that all the time. One day it's gonna happen. I have a viewer question for you guys. They want to know what color the event team. While I scroll down and pick their question for
you. Good question, guys. We're going with black this year because you know, it's such a nice thinning color. First of all, no, we're gonna go black, white on black. We got the RC 4-wheel drive Zia Scale Nationals logo on the front, and I got to thank the guys over at RC 4-wheel drive Tom Allen and his group for doing some of the graphic work for us. So we're going to plug that on the front. And then on the back, it's pretty busy, man, because we have a lot of sponsors. So it's just, it's just railed on the back. And actually, if you go to the Facebook page, scroll down a little bit, there's actually a post in there that kind of gives you a little bit of a preview. So
awesome. And that link is down below inside of the description for the video for anybody who's watching it currently or after the fact. You can find the link to both the ticket sales and to the event information down in the link below, as well as my links and so on and so forth. I don't do a very good job of saying that very often, so I'm trying to insert that more here. And additionally, hit that subscribe button and the alert bell, because then you'll get alerted when we do more of these in the future. The next question, I'm just going to two-part it towards you guys. Big tires or small tires, and brushed or brushless. Those are my standard ones I put out there for everyone.
Yeah.
Totally depends on the rig, man. I don't have a favorite. Brushed or brushless, again, depends on the rig. Don't have a favorite. So it's totally rig dependent.
I'm probably more of a big tire guy, but I got to say I like tall and narrow. So I'm a big fan of cut and shut. If what you need doesn't exist, then going in and making it is actually always fun and a challenge. So, there's some good small tires out there these days. I'm actually going to be trying a few different ones here at Scale Nationals. So that should be interesting. And then in terms of brushed or brushless, I think Scott nailed it. It's probably a canned answer, man. It really just depends what you're doing. If anything go fast, if you're racing X4, U4, you're running behind your truck, or you need wheel speed for a TTC, then that's definitely going to be a brushless application. I think for precision type crawling and ultimate control, it's got to be brushed still. The technology is getting there, I think. In fact, I was looking at a motor earlier tonight. It's that Orion D series motor that's actually got the ESC that's integral to it. And if they could develop that technology, it's still uncensored, but if they can get that censored technology and integrate that ESC into the motor can, that would be bomb. Because that'll save all kinds of space, especially in these comp rigs, so.
Yeah, absolutely. And even inside of like the scale comp rigs, because once you start playing with trying to hit the correct number of points in your interior and still make it performance oriented, space becomes a very big premium inside of what's going on. And that's part of the game of SORRCA, is you have to build a rig that can drive really, really well, but also can match those scale points and what's going on.
Correct.
So, all right. Next one. What do you guys like most about RC?
Why are you always putting me on the spot?
No, I was going to say the camaraderie, man.
There you go.
Obviously I love the competition and, the mechanical and electrical inclination that's required to build and run these things. And then just, the skill of driving. But I think in the end, man, I've met all these guys and they're like my best friends now, and we go out, we hang out. So they're always around. If I need something, I can call them. If I need to move my house, I know Scott's there to help.
I pretty much have to answer it the same way, man. It's the camaraderie that the hobby brings to you, and just all the fun things that you got. With me and Joe have taken quite a few trips out of state, together, and there's just nothing like it. It's a blast, that's probably the best thing about it right there. Just the fun.
That and the women.
Oh yeah, there's so many of them. They're just
ridiculous, man. I can't even walk through the mall without getting recognized. It's crazy.
Yeah, they're all over the RC trucks, that's for sure. All right, so my question that's next was phrased, do you compete in scale competitions? I believe we all know that is the case. And so what is your favorite format in the scale scene? I know you guys are big in comp crawling scene and you're very instrumental in what's going on there, but in the scale side of it, what is your favorite part going on there?
For me, it's, the standard 10 gate, 3 bonus, 6 minute, sweating, stressful, 50 people watching you drive
Yeah.
Format. That's the one I like. The TTCs are fun and all that, but really just that raw comp is really my flavor.
Yeah, I gotta say I'm pretty much a comp guy as well. I like the SORRCA rules, and I've been to the last 3-4 years at Scale Nationals. It's a blast. But my favorite class, probably scale wise, would be our trail class. You have to have a scale appearance, but that's about it. You don't have to have bumpers, you don't have to have interiors. It just make it kind of look like a truck. And other than that, you're just going out there to beat your buddy.
Yeah. I've always kind of been intrigued in the trail thing, and I know that the group of guys that you run with have done that a lot. I've seen it pop up other places. I kind of experimented with that here when I was running stuff. I just really took like most of the rules associated with it all away and made it more fun, and people were just as competitive when you took it all away as they are with all the rules. I am like Joe though. Give me 10 gates with a time limit, put a bunch of people standing there, put those butterflies in my stomach, make me nervous. And that's the environment that I like. But I also realize that not everybody likes that one. So
yeah. Gotta keep driving, man. Gotta keep driving.
Oh yeah. All right. So let's start talking about what you guys are here to talk about, and that is Scale Nationals. You've taken on the responsibility, I must say, of hosting this event. For those of the people who are out there who don't know what's going on, can you tell them a little bit about Scale Nationals, a little bit about what's going on? And then I'll ask some more questions specific about it, but like give the overview and all of that info. Tell them where to find it, all the things. So go with that.
All right, so we at NMRCC here in Albuquerque, we are hosting the RC four-wheel drive 2019 Zia Scale Nationals. This is a traveling event, so every year it's in a different, city, state, market, whatever you want to call it. Last year it was in Tennessee. The year prior it was in Wenatchee, and then I think it was in Arizona prior to that, and then Colorado prior to that. Yeah. So we were lucky enough to win the bid, I guess, this year to say that we're going to host it. And what it is it's really the Mount Everest of scale comps. So if you're a relevant driver and you're competitive, you need to be at this event, because it's really where bragging rights are earned. The best drivers around in the U.S. come to compete and converge and have fun, but at the same time, it's highly competitive. So, but at the same time, if you're a first timer, it's a total blast. First timer, you're probably not going to get on the podium, but you're going to have a blast coming out and watching these guys drive and learning. I got to tell you, the first Scale Nationals I went to, I don't even think maybe in the middle of the field, and there was like 90 drivers or something. But I learned more in those 3 days than probably my last 5 years of learning, scale trucks. Just looking at everybody's rigs, their setups, what chassis they're running, how their suspensions work, and the weights, the electronics, how they're skimming points by, doing certain things. And I remember I came back, and that next year I built, 3 rigs for last year, and placed top 10 in all 3 classes. So so it was a blast, man. And if you, like I said, if you're a relevant driver, you need to come to this event, and you need to drive with the best out in the country. You look at the guys from Colorado, Washington, Arizona, the East Coast, and they all come out, and they bring their best, and this is where it gets done, right here.
Yeah, bragging rights.
And I agree. I think that it's kind of always been that way. When we hear the word Scale Nationals, it's supposed to be the calling to the guys who are doing well in their area to say, hey, like, come throw your hat into the ring with everybody else.
Absolutely.
I wish it was more in my cards to be there, but unfortunately I don't get to go. Not that I can definitely hold a candle to all the other people, but you know, either way, I'd like to go try. So Ben Morin wants to know if you're gonna have a drivers meeting. Guessing that answer is yes.
No, Ben. No.
Ben, come on. Yes, we are, but it is going to be super minimal because I don't know if you've been to these things, Adam, and that driver meeting can drag on for an hour. We're not doing that this year. If you go to the page, the Facebook page, there's videos and instructional stuff on the whole how the event flows, how it all works.
Yeah.
And so when you show up, you already know. There's not going to be a lot of questions. It's going to be more housekeeping. This is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it, and everybody go drive. Gotcha. And so that's really going to be the meeting.
I like that. That seems efficient. If you guys don't know what he's talking about, go into the event page. It's linked in the comments, or not in the comments, in the video description. So if you're watching this, that's a great place to go, a great resource. And it sounds like you guys have done a lot of groundwork there to make sure that people are well informed and they know what's happening.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is misinformation or wrong information. And just people just not knowing what they should be doing when they show up. So we're trying to mitigate that this year, and I think we're doing a pretty good job of it. So it should be a very different experience.
Awesome. So what was the driving deciding factor between for throwing your hat into the ring saying, hey, we'll take on and host this big event? I mean, it's a pretty solid spotlight to step into. Like, people are paying attention to it. I would assume there's some pressure involved, some stress involved. What made you want to take that task on, guys?
Well, I'll tell you, for me, and then you can say why you wanted to do it. But for me, it was so the last few years that I've gone, it seems like the events were awesome. Don't get me wrong, but it seems like they were kind of built more around the venue and not so much the terrain.
Okay.
So my approach was thinking, well, let's build it more around the terrain, and then we'll just deal with the venue stuff. However, whether we need to get pop-up tents and porta potties and that kind of thing. So that's exactly what we did. And the place we're going, it's just epic, man. It stretches for miles.
It is.
It's these badland features that have been formed over centuries of water running through them, and the features are just undeniable. The lines are endless, and and it's grippy. So it's going to be a blast. Even when it's wet, it's grippy. So we really thought, well, let's just put there was some back and forth. Scott wasn't sure, I wasn't sure, Christian wasn't sure, and then we said, you know what, let's just man up and do it, man. We can pull this off. So that was my decision. That was why I decided.
Yeah.
I've been trying to get a large comp to New Mexico for a couple of years now because we have such epic rock. I wanted to share that with everybody, and just show them, hey, look at this, look what we got.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my main driving factor, and the fact that they said, sure, we'll give you a shot. Well, there you go, So yeah, we want to show off our great rock, in the state of New Mexico. It's got tons of stuff to do before and after the event. So you don't just have to come for the 3 days. You can come for a week and a half, and just have plenty to do. New Mexico's a high desert state. We have a little bit of everything. We have desert, we have mountains, we have high desert mountains. So it's just a little bit of everything. One of the few states that actually has all 4 seasons in one day.
That would be interesting, man. We have them throughout a year.
No, I meant the day.
Yeah.
Today was close. There was like 3 seasons.
Yeah.
Today.
So, we just wanted to share with everybody, and, hopefully that'll open us up for future big events.
Get us on the map.
Big events are always a blast to host. It's got stress, it's got its troubles, it's got its, problems. But once the event actually happens, all that goes away, and you just have fun. So that's all that really matters.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I'm gonna address a couple of the comments going on in the chat right now. And so, I want to thank Ben for answering a bunch of stuff, because I know Ben Morin's well informed. So as people are asking some of the questions, he's taking care of some of that, so I don't have to field them to you guys. So thank you, Ben. Additionally, Will Fritz wants to know if you have an ocean. I'm pretty sure your answer is no.
Come on, Will.
Will is being facetious. It's another big word, Will.
Yes, I know he's being facetious, because I know Will. But I thought that was very valid to bring up in our video right now. So anyway, where exactly are you located with this event? Is it free to come out and check it out? Is like, what are competition, like, what are ticket prices? All that, like, some of that info. And I know that they can get there by going to the video description and clicking the link, but like, give them a little bit of a feeler of what's going on there.
So the event's is going to be held at the San Ysidro trials area. It's just west or north, just north of Bernalillo, New Mexico. It's about 45-minute drive from Albuquerque, and it's where the trial, those trials bikes, the motorcycles that are real light and they bounce around and jump up rocks and things. So that's primarily their area.
Yes.
So
it was created for them.
Yeah. So we're privileged to be able to go in and out and have this event. Now, it is actually on BLM land, and when you have an event and BLM land, there's some requirements and some costs associated. So if you're just coming out to check it out, you can actually walk in the gate. We can't stop the public from coming in, and walk all the way down to the comp site and look at it. Now it's a fairly long walk, but you could technically do it. If you're going to drive in and you're a spectator, there's like a $6 cover to get in, and those tickets are available on the website. And then if you're a driver, it's $50 per class. And that includes basically your comp ticket and the driver bag and so on and so forth. Sticker sheets, goodie bag. And then we're going to be catering for the 3 days. Now, there is a cost because we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere, so there's nowhere to really go run and eat. So there is a cost associated if you want the lunch. And this catering company comes out, they serve you hot. And I think the daily ticket is like $16, but that's a full fajita meal with a drink and a dessert, and they handle everything. So it's super convenient to have that. And then the event shirts are like $20, and I think that's pretty much all we have, like, ticket wise.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. The $6 spectator thing, that's BLM. That's not us being hard on you guys. That's what we got to pay. So if you want to drive up to the comp site, which is about a mile, 1.2 miles from the gate to the comp site, there's the parking lot. But you can walk up there for free. We're not, we can't keep people out, but we can deny you vehicle access.
Right.
There's a locked gate. We'll have a guy at the gate scanning tickets. We're just trying to keep this as professional as possible, and we make zero off of that BLM charge. That goes directly to BLM.
Right, and so it's just supporting the National Park Service, I'm guessing.
Correct.
That's supporting that area. So it's like a day use fee. We have that here. Like, if I was going to go to some of the areas I run, you have to pay to park to be there and go use their area. So, Yep. All right.
Yeah.
So you have a team helping you out with this. Is it just the two of you guys? Are there more people involved? What's going on with all of that?
Well, primarily it's myself, Scott McKee, and Christian Hitt as the organizational crew for the most part. But we have a ton of support out there too. The guys from Colorado, Ikaika and his crew. The guys from Washington, Ben and his crew, they've been helping quite a bit. The Arizona guys are actually going to come out a day early and help us set up some things. So I got to put out big thank yous to all those guys.
Yeah, definitely.
One of our local guys, Gary Floridia, he's taking care of all the T-shirt stuff. I got to thank Patrick Milady, I think is how you pronounce his last name. He just finished up all our banners and graphics. And so we've just had an outpour of support and local guys here wanting to help. And so we've got plenty of things for them to do, and we will be delegating accordingly. So, but yeah, but the primary contact is myself, Scott, or Christian.
All right. I get the whole delegating accordingly thing. Making sure that everything's taken care of is awesome. Ben, I cannot tell if he's being serious or not, but he wants to know if that weekend there's a trials event going on. Dude, I'm trying here, Ben, but like if you're messing with him, it's just a little hard.
No, there's not a trials event going on, thank God. But there, what is happening that weekend is the Gathering of Nations, which is like the biggest powwow native gathering like in the country,
America,
like in the country, and tribes come in from all over the place. So it's fun. There's a lot of things going on, but at the same token, hotels fill up quick. So if you haven't book now, because that's coming quick. So
absolutely, and that's good news to put out there so that people can be on the ball and making things happen. All right, so my next question is, with this being a big premier event, the pressure of like doing a good job, what has been the biggest challenge so far that you've been tasked with in hosting this event this year?
Ben and his comments. No, I'm kidding. No, really what it boils down to is just thinking of everything. I thought about this question a little bit today, Adam. There's just so many little things you got to think of. And if you forget one little thing, if you forget to bring timers, well, you're screwed, and so we've done I think we've done a really good job of literally writing everything down. We have I probably have 10 spreadsheets, everything from budget to task assignment, all laid out. So I think we've got everything covered. I'm sure something will pop up, but we've got some contingencies in the budget for that. But that's really been, just thinking of every possible scenario. I was talking to Scott the other day, and I was like, you know what, we should probably think of a alternative comp spot. Like if something catastrophic happens out there, meteor hits it or something, and we can't comp out there, what are we going to do? And that's the kind of thing you got to think of. That's the mindset you got to have. And so that's really been the biggest, for me, at least, the biggest challenge.
All right. The question just popped up, and I think it's a good question. It asks, will all tickets need to be purchased in advance, or could you decide to like pay cash on the spot for either the spectator or for launch?
Your comp, well, we really need to know that we're going to cut off ticket sales probably mid-April.
Okay.
And so if anything is sold out, obviously you can't get that ticket that late, but we really need to know what the count is on the catering. So those really need to be purchased in advance prior to the 15th of April.
Right. Makes sense.
Same with the t-shirts, because we've got to make them, right? So, and then as far as the spectator tickets, we're going to leave those open all the way through. So if you need a spectator ticket, you can jump on your phone on the way to the comp and buy one there if you don't have the one you need. So we prefer not to take cash at the event and buy tickets that way. But if somebody shows up to the gate, they don't have a ticket, we're just going to have them get on their phone and buy one.
Yeah. All right. So, that works great. So I'm guessing there's service there, and that should be no issue. So
there is service. Yes.
Yeah. All right. So I did have another question asking about a concourse. Oh, Ben answered that. There will be a concourse Thursday night, if he remembers correctly. I know that's always been a big part of Scale Nationals. I'm guessing I was guessing you guys weren't going to go around that because that's always been a big part of what goes. So
in fact, we ordered the trophies today for I think there's 15 trophies getting handed out for
just
a
concourse.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I always enjoy that from not having gone and been there in person. That's a cool piece of it, because once the comp gets going and all the action happens, people tend to, what I've always done, and forget to video and film and do stuff. But the concourse stuff, that's the piece that everybody always gets out there. So I've always enjoyed that over what people are building, and glad to hear that's happening again.
Yeah, you get to pick them up and feel them and see what's happening.
So what is something that you guys are still holding on to about the Scale Nationals that no one knows about yet?
I was thinking about that today. There's a couple of things, and I'm going to allude to them a little bit, Adam. I'm not going to give you all the details, okay?
It's okay. You don't have to give me the perfect secrets, but give them something.
I will tell you. So it's inevitable at the end of after these events, within a couple of weeks, you get a thread that sparks up, and somebody says something. Oh, that guy's truck wasn't legal, and he should be stripped of his title, and this and that. So we are mitigating that this year, and we've got some surprises. Now, it's going to be transparent to the drivers. They won't even know it's happening. But we've got a few things that we're going to be doing as event organizers to mitigate that and make sure that that's kind of stuff doesn't happen. And there'll be really no reason for anybody to start that kind of thread. So we've got some secrets there that are happening. And then on a more positive note, we've got 2 additional trophies that I've never seen being awarded in previous events. So there's 2 more trophies that are up for grabs, above and beyond the regular, class 1, first, second, third, so on and so forth. So that'll be interesting. But that's about all I'm going to allude to at this point.
Fair enough. Alluding to something is better than nothing. So I guess you guys are just gonna have to go check it out. Get your tickets in the comments section here or the video description. So my next question for you is, at this stage of the game, knowing everything you know so far about hosting this event, do you think you'd take on this challenge again?
Go ahead. I would. I've been pretty minimal at this. I've been securing permits and, just making sure we're on the legal side of it. Other than that, Joe's really stepped up. He's, taking the reins on this thing and pointing fingers and telling people to do stuff and making it happen. So on my personal part, yes, I would. I don't know if Joe feels quite the same.
I'd like to answer that now, Adam, but I'll tell you what, that first part of May, I'll let you know for sure after the event.
Yeah, so just shoot me a message and tell me hey, this was the worst decision I ever made, or this is great, I'll totally do it next year. But no, and I think I completely understand your answer. And one of the things that you said a little bit back, and I didn't talk about it initially, was that you're making all of these plans for the what ifs, the things that you don't know what's coming, out of curiosity. So my job specifically requires me to be very capable of thinking on my feet and handling situations as they come, a little proactive in that. Would you say that's kind of in your character already, or is that something you're focusing hard on for this?
Yeah, just being in my industry, I get bombarded with that stuff on a daily basis. So I think that I've got the mindset for it, and I've kind of been in that position from inception of this idea. So, and I think that's where a lot of the back and forth and indecision was originally, was, well, what if this happens and can we handle that? And
right.
So we've thought through this thing. We've looked at it several different ways, and I think we've got a handle on most situations. So.
And that's great to hear, man. I think that's important, even from a small event host standpoint to the biggest event host standpoint. Being able to think on your feet and being a little proactive and not stressing out too much when things go a little sideways, because inevitably something's going to happen. So it's good to hear that you've kind of thought some of that through and you're making provision for it.
Yeah.
So I know the answer to the next question, which is, do you typically host other events throughout the year? Can you talk a little bit about some of these other things that you guys do? Do you have a Facebook group that people can go to if they're in your area and they stumble across this interview? How do people find you? How do they know what you guys have going on?
Yeah, we've obviously we host many events. We basically have a competition every other week, whether it be comp, whether it be scale, whether it be our trail class.
Okay.
And for the last, 4 years now, we've been hosting our New Mexico Championship, and that's basically comp and trail class. We just run all the classes.
That's a big one. We get guys from the Four Corners area. Guys come all the way up from El Paso. And it's a pretty nice turnout every year, and there's some bragging rights made. So
Yeah, there is.
Well, that's the best kind. Like, so I've seen when people are going back and forth about competing and stuff, I hear comments or see comments, especially in the winter. Facebook's always good for the back and forth in the winter, the banter while everybody gets cabin fever and wants to go run their trucks. But I hear lots of comments about like bowling trophies and things like that. And so what you just said about bragging rights, like trophies don't really matter. Like I'm not trying to brag, but I have a cupboard full of trophies from down here that like I've never put them out anywhere. So like it's all about just the back and forth between the people that you're competing with, I think.
Yeah. Right. You know, our comp series and our events, we don't hand out trophies at every event. It's more of a series, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going towards the end of the year and states, the finals. And to answer another question that we didn't get to highlight there, NMRCC is our local club. It's got all the information on there. All of our events are posted on there. So you could check out NMRCC on Facebook. Again, that's our local club. That's where we post all the events, all the scores. Same with the state finals and everything.
All right.
I'll get you the link, Adam.
Okay, awesome. And so once I have that link, I won't have it right now if you're watching it live and you want to go check it out, but I will have the link in the future. So if you're picking this up after the fact, once Joe sends it to me, I'll just insert it in the video description below. Okay, so with all of this event hosting that you do and hosting this bigger event, what advice would you give to people who are like, hey, there aren't really any events in my area. I'm really into tiny trucking. I know there's some people around. Maybe I want to host my first event, or I want to start hosting events. Like, what advice do you give to those people?
Run the other way. No,
just do it, man. Just do it.
Do it. Do it.
You never know if you're going to fail. You never know if you're going to succeed unless you do it.
Right.
I think the advice I would give those people is obviously look at what's trending in your city or market or area, because that's gonna generate the most vibe and the most people are going to show up. I mean, when we host a trail class or SORRCA event, I think our numbers about triple as opposed to when we host a comp event,
right?
A traditional comp event. So clearly, as a club, we've got to think about what we're going to be doing moving forward in that area, because that seems to be the trend these days. And I know we have a lot of comp guys, but some of those guys have been selling their rigs and going into scale stuff. We don't have a lot of guys selling their scale stuff and getting into comp rigs. So I think we're going to probably be talking a little bit internally amongst ourselves in determining what the best course is moving forward. But for those other clubs, see what's trending. Just get a small fun run together. Maybe look at some formats. I know if you order Crawler Innovation foams, it comes with a little pamphlet in there, and it's called the Outlaw Format Comp. And it's kind of cool. I was like, we should do that one time. And it gives you all the little rules and stuff and how to run a little competition.
Yeah.
As far as the cabin fever and guys sitting under 2 foot of snow or whatever. Again, we're in the high desert. We do get some snow, but it's usually gone the next day. So we run most of our stuff. We run in the winter. In the summer, it's just too hot.
Right.
We obviously don't want nobody dying out of the rock.
Right.
So our downtime is in the summer when everybody else is posting up their happy events.
We actually have a winter series that takes place inside of like a comp barn thing in our area. So some of our more competitive stuff that's consistent is over the winter, and Ryan Kornmesser hosts that at the RC Attic compound. And that's how it's been for, between Ryan and I, we've hosted yearly comps for like the last 8 years, or like monthly comps for like the last 8 years. So I usually did the summer and he did the winter. And so we're also doing a lot in the winter where a lot of people are not. And it's not warm by any stretch of the imagination sometimes, but we're doing it and we're competing a lot in the winter as well. So I think that we don't feel that as much either, at least locally to me, but I understand how other people. So.
Right.
All right, so we've talked all about event hosting and all of that jazz. So let's talk about some tiny trucks. How many of these tiny trucks do you guys have in your stables here?
I have 18.
It's a good number.
I think I have 14 running and 20.
God knows how many. Yeah, his hobby room is like, you could probably just go in there and build like 10 trucks just from what's laying around. Yeah. It's crazy.
I believe it. So I'm quickly amassing a collection of things that are half finished. I'm doing a real good job of starting a project and letting it sit for a very long time. I have at least 3 of those right now that are just in various stages of just sitting.
Probably about 7 or 8 of those.
I'm actually the other way around. Like, I'll sit and I'll stare at the parts for like a month, and then when I decide it's on, man, it's like the last build I just finished up. I think I probably built that in about 3 weeks. And
that's awesome.
But all the parts and everything were just kind of sitting there, and there was a lot of welding and stuff to do that I was kind of not looking forward to, but so.
Right. So what is your favorite truck in your collection, and can you show it off for us? So I'll flip the camera over and show off what you've got going on.
All right. Well, this is probably the closest I got to anything scale related. Joe hasn't finished my scale rigs this year. This is a rig he built for me. It's a custom one-off chassis. He built it 2016, I think.
Yeah, 2016.
I have used it in C3 comps before. It's more of a rock bouncer than it is a competition rig.
Right.
And this thing is a blast. And probably one of the only rigs that I never changed. The only thing I added to this rig was rear steer. Mm-hmm. Since Joe has built it. Most of my other rigs, I change up and put my own flavor to it. But, this is also who does the original 1-1 chassis.
Yeah, the name eludes me, but this actually kind of is inspired by a 1-to-1 chassis.
It is a mimic.
The name eludes me. Yes. I'll think of it here in a second.
So just the fact that it's a one-off of a 1-1 build is something that's special as well, And
it was a birthday present.
Yeah, it was my birthday present.
That's a great birthday present.
I love the little Santa hat.
So, Joe, my birthday is in September.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
And again, it's got, cut and shut tires. These are 6 inches tall. You can't buy these anywhere. So it's just a completely one-off rig. There's not one that even comes close to resembling it. So it's probably one of my favorites.
Right.
And then this one is my current favorite, probably because I just finished it.
Yeah, that's what always happens to me. So I saw pictures of this earlier today, and good looking truck.
Yeah, so this kind of came to me one night. The idea, there was kind of a trophy truck / crawler thing, and I actually drew it up, and I actually drew it to scale. And I saved the scale drawings, and this is another scenario where it sat for, I don't know, 3 months. I didn't do anything with it. And then about 3 weeks ago, I finally got on it, and it's centered. It's based on a Toy Suzuki V3 chassis, and it's got CMS, it's got the V2.5 transfer case, and then it's all original, one off. The interior's it's kind of a mixture of handmade Lexan bent sheet aluminum, and I think that's an RC 4-wheel drive dash in there. But I haven't actually run it yet.
Are those seats aluminum? Like, you built those?
Yeah, they are.
They look really good. That was one of the things I was eyeing up.
Yeah, you can actually buy this aluminum sheet at like Home Depot or Lowe's, and it's like $5 or $6 for like a 6x12 sheet. and you can just cut it with shears and you know, just hand form it and then just, you know, bend it and drill it and make these real lightweight seats.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to driving this, but this is my Shelf Queen entry in the concourse at Zia Scale Nationals, and that was the whole reason I built. I'm going to be running my other C3s. So, but yeah, so far so good. Pretty happy with it. At least it looks good, and so we'll see if it runs good.
Well, it looks great, man. And so, since this is a brand new build, my question would be, when you guys build specifically, do you build for performance or do you build for aesthetics? Which one takes precedent over the other one?
Performance.
Yeah, I think I would have to agree with Scott in that, especially from like a scale standpoint. So let's say you got two rigs side by side. You have you know, maybe a class 1 hard body that you spent 40 hours on a paint job and, you know, modifying it and making it look cherry, and it's just beautiful body. And then next to it, you have, you know, a Trailfinder 2 that got sent off a cliff a few times, never been painted, just a mess, been glued back together 3 times. You know, in terms of points, they're the same. So it's you know, I prefer to build for performance, because if the rig doesn't perform, you know, who cares how it looks, you know? So, but you know, I can appreciate also the guys that build some just beautiful aesthetic rigs, and they're not really meant to go out and you know, bash and comp and that kind of thing. They're just meant to be eye candy and maybe cruise around the rocks a little bit nice and slow. I could totally appreciate that too. So, but yeah, I'm a performance guy, man.
Yeah, so I would argue that from my angle, I'm a performance person as well. Even if I build something that looks good, I always am trying to eke out as much performance as I can, but I can't let it go if I don't like how it looks. So like, I think that for me, aesthetics win out just a little bit, not a lot. Like, it has to perform well, but it better look at least different than everybody else's. That's my end game. So,
and I got to tell you too, Adam, I mean, early on when I got into the crawling side of the hobby, I had this misnomer that if it looked good, it would run good. And so I remember, oh man, let me get these aluminum parts, and, you know, let me get these hop-ups from Energy, and let me get, you know, all this stuff. And you come out and it's this bling bling rig, but the thing, you know, it would just fall over. And so I learned pretty fast that no, it's not looks, man. So.
Yeah. So I know that it's not looks, but like the body for me has to have looks. Like it just has to. Like,
it's got to have lines.
That piece. So with that being said, like, and I think that's one of my most important parts of a scale build. Like, it has to have an interior. It has to have a body that you don't see every day that looks different than everybody else's. Like, when you see the picture of my rig online, you're like, yeah, that's Adam's. Like, you know that it's mine. For me, that's important when I build a truck. What is the most important part of any scale build for you guys? And so I'm going to ask that to people watching as well, people who are watching live right now, but also people who are watching like later on and are picking this up. What is the most important aspect of like any scale truck for you?
Well, I think the more likes you get, the better you did, right? The more comments you get, the better you did, right? So there's some validity to that, you know, and you know, it justifies your existence as a builder, I guess. And so, I mean, the most important thing I think is that A, you build it and it's yours and you own it, right? And B, it's unique. And like you said, I'm hoping that when people see this truck, besides the fact that it says GA Fab on it, that they would know, hey, that's Joe's style and that's something he would build. But yeah, I think, I mean, for me, that's what's most important.
You know, I'm not a big scale builder, so just leave Joe's answer there.
I mean, but even the comp truck stuff, Scott, like when you build a comp rig, like there is attention to detail going on there. Like I follow you guys' builds. It's definitely there.
The detail that I pay attention to is performance. You know, I could really care less what it looks like, as long as it works.
I can actually vouch for that. I've seen some ugly stuff come out of it.
So to throw a name out there, who I will hopefully futurely have on the show, Joe Kesky is like that. I don't know if you guys follow Joe's stuff, but
I've seen Joe's
his stuff, although it may not be the most beautiful rig you've ever seen, there is something incredibly innovative that you've probably never seen before in a scale rig hiding deep inside of every one of Joe's builds. I love it. I'm thankful that I'm local enough to him that I get to like see stuff in person and dig deep into it, because there's always like a hidden Easter egg that you're like, wait, you did what? So, and it's always in the theme of like making something perform better. So
you want to see my Easter egg in this one?
Yes, I do, and so does everybody else, so here it comes.
Battery hatch.
It's got a scale door. No, it's joking.
It's a battery hatch.
Nice.
Magnet.
Nice. I like it. So there's something to be said about building a place to get your battery in and out easy on some of these scale trucks.
Yeah.
I didn't used to consider that when I did builds, and now at this stage I'm like, where's the battery go? Like my first concern. All right. Who are your influences in the scale crawling segment of the hobby? And if you were going to pick someone to be on the show, who would you pick to have on and why?
Gosh, I'm relatively new. I've probably only been in the scalar scene maybe for the last 3 years, and just kind of dipping my pinky toe in it, not fully enveloped. But God, man, just going to these comps and watching the guys from Colorado drive, Ivan and James and Akaika and Dave, they're next level. And then you mix that in with Ben and the Washington crew and Will and Steve Penguin and those guys. You throw a Scott Manis in there, and then a little bit of some local NMRCC mix, and it's a pretty good brew. So all those guys, I look at all their stuff, and I love following them. And I got to say, probably my favorite run was Wenatchee 2 years ago, C2 finals. Joey Andazola, he actually won C2, and he just owned that finals course. And I don't think his heartbeat ever got over about 89, man. He was just cruising. And I was wanting to see him come out this year, and I haven't heard from him. I haven't seen him buy a ticket. So Joey Andazola, man, that's me calling you out. Get your butt down here, and let's see that repeat on that performance.
Awesome. All right.
But in terms of who I'd want to see on it, gosh, man, what would be hilarious is if you brought Will Fritz on. That would be hilarious. You would have to bleep the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
so what would be amazing is, and you might not know this, like I talk to Will reasonably often. And so I told him he's more than welcome to come on, but I did tell him it's got to be PG. So I think that you guys can push him this way, but he's gotta tone it down just a touch, I think.
No, some of these guys that are building are making some of the most innovative parts and really bringing the whole hobby to the next level. Those are always the best guys to talk to, man.
Yeah.
So I know they're a little dry, not very entertaining, but man, they have good ideas.
All right, Scott, any people from you?
No, not really, man. I like everybody equally. He's my builder, so probably Joe would be my favorite. For scale stuff, Christian Hitt would be my favorite for comp stuff.
Yeah.
Again, that's just local guys. I love everybody equally. I try not to discriminate that way, but there's, like Joe was saying, there's so many guys out there that are just on the top of their game and just coming up with new stuff and innovations, and it's a big long list, and I wouldn't want to try to put that in any kind of order to wouldn't want to offend anybody because they're all equally great.
All right. Very diplomatic answer from you, sir. All right, so
that's one.
I had to keep it PG.
Right? Nailed it. Anyway, what is your favorite truck or build out there currently in the moment that's floating around the internet that, like, every time you see it, you're like, wow, that one's good?
God, there's so many. The one that I keep coming back to though, Adam, is one of Jonathan Baskin's build. He's Power Shift RC. And I saw this truck in Wenatchee a couple years ago, and it's a flatbed if I remember right. But it actually had like working windshield wipers, and a little spray that would come out. And man, the level of detail that guy put into that, and he's, John's kind of a big guy, so I just picture him, as a mad scientist sitting at his table working on these little micro LEDs and soldering and getting everything in there, and and that rig is just another level. I think it won Best in Show that year.
Yeah, dude.
If he ever wants to part with that rig, I want to be numero uno on the list. So.
All right.
As far as a favorite rig for me, there's really too many out there to choose. Just to name a name, Joe does great work. Philip, he actually does some really cool builds as well. I've purchased a few in the middle of the builds from him, and of course they're just sitting on my shelf waiting for some inspiration. But yeah, again, man, there's so many. It's really hard to choose. JB, Jonathan Baskin, he does some great stuff as well. There's just endless amounts of guys out there that build these amazing rigs. So
Scott Lempert. His stuff's off.
To nail them down, it's unfair to anybody else, really.
Fair enough. I can tell you though that Joe, yours is the one that caught my eye today. I'm like flipping. I stopped. So you nailed that one. I can't lie. All right, so here's a question for you guys: forums, social media, or like YouTube? What is the preferred platform for your RC enjoyment?
Yeah, it's got to be Facebook. I mean, we have our NMRCC page. I think we have close to 300 members on there now, right? And we don't just let anybody join.
Yeah, we try to keep it kind of local.
You have to qualify. There's a couple questions that you get asked before you can join. And so that's huge for us. We try to maintain that page, keep it nice, share it, as needed. But I think Facebook's the prime media for us. I don't have Instagram. I do have a YouTube channel. There's a couple cooking videos on there.
Yeah.
The truck ones.
Yeah. There's some cooking videos, and then there's some baby. And then there's a couple RC videos on there. There's some how-tos, a couple reviews, but not a lot of RC stuff on there. I think mostly it's on our page, MRCC page.
Yeah, RCC crawler used to be a big thing. Unfortunately, they just kind of let it die, and it is what it is now. A lot of people still use it. There's still tons of information on there. Most of the pictures are gone. So it just kind of phased out. Again, social media probably the most.
Yeah, and I think that you guys kind of mirror a lot of what people are doing. I think I see the biggest traffic probably on Facebook, and I see people showing a lot of numbers from Instagram. Instagram's pretty big right now, and then YouTube I think is kind of growing. There's some really, really big people who have lots of followers on YouTube currently, but I feel like there's a lot more people who are like up and coming there as well that I keep discovering all the time. I mean, people with a couple thousand followers, so on and so forth, and I think that one's growing as well, especially as it's getting easier and easier to watch it like on your TV. So like it's attached to most people's TVs. So now instead of it being like random dudes putting videos on the internet, now people are seeing it as a TV opportunity. So I think that's growing as well.
Yeah, totally. Sit down and watch crawler videos.
Right? And I've done that. I mean, I've sat and just watched hours of crawling stuff, and my little guy loves it too. So he'll sit on, and so like everybody knows RC Sparks. My son loves the stuff that he puts out. And so it just a lot of stuff, a lot of watching that type of stuff. All right, so You guys have been in the hobby for quite some time. You're veterans here. What advice do you give to someone who just went out and bought their first truck and just getting started?
Oh man, make it steer. That's the first thing you got to do to any of these things is make them steer.
Got to be able to turn.
Yeah, turn and then burn. Turning first, drivetrain second, electronics third, and then I'm like totally guilty of this. When I first got in it, I went and just bought what I thought was the coolest thing, and it ended up being a piece of junk. So it's important that you talk to the guys in the hobby shop, talk to the local guys, talk to the guys on Facebook, and understand. Don't go wasting your money on something that's just not going to perform or that you're not going to like. Take the time, do the research, and then always go with somebody that's good at it, and you're going to learn a ton. That's what I do.
Just get out there and have fun. Again, you need steering. Well, if you're just going to go out there and hit the trails and do whatever, then just go have fun with your truck. If that's what you want to do, go do it, man. Don't follow any influences. If you like competition, go to competitions. Just be you. Little tiny trucks is just a little tiny expression of you.
Right on. I like the just be you statement. I haven't heard a lot of people be like just do you. And that's awesome, man. So thank you for that advice. Ben says always ask for advice, or no, he said ask Will for advice. That's bad advice. Ask for advice from other people. Sorry, Will. But just have to put that one out there. Anyway, I totally read that wrong and then drove right into that one. Thanks, Ben. Appreciate it. Okay, so where do you guys see the scale crawling community side of what's going on? Going inside of ours?
I think it's just like anything else. It's technology driven. Things are going to get smaller, more efficient, better performing. I don't think we've peaked by any means in terms of what's going to be available. You look 10 years down the road, it'd be interesting to see what's there. I think it's just going to be technology driven. And then of course, as more creative people come into the hobby, have new ideas and generate new things, that creates buzzes and people start going a different direction. But I think scale is here to stay. I don't think it's going anywhere.
Yeah, I can agree. I think scale's here. All right. So my next question is an interesting one. I always try to throw something in there about the sponsorship side of what goes on. And so as event hosts, what can you say about the process of sponsorship, that realm of what's happening?
Well, first I gotta say, I gotta thank every sponsor that stepped up for Zia Scale Nationals, man. It's huge. I mean, we're calling on these guys and we're asking them to basically, give us stuff. And we got to prove our worth, right? So I think we took a couple of steps this year. We made a real nice sponsorship guide that laid out, kind of both sides of the expectations. Hey, if you do this for us, we're going to do this for you. And we really are going to focus on keeping our promises in terms of what we're going to deliver for the sponsors. But it's a little bit of a challenge. It's better if you know somebody. Like Scott is a team manager for Rod 6, so clearly I'm going to let him approach Matt about getting a sponsorship.
Right. Right.
He's a team driver for Holmes Hobbies, so let him go do that. I have relationships with a lot of them as well. So I think about delegating that to the right person. I think the approach is important. Really, I think the more structured and organized you look, better off you're going to be in terms of securing a sponsor. But I will say this, being this is our big, first big event we're hosting here. The rumor is that tracking these guys down to get your prizes could be a challenge, so you got to stay on them. So if there's any sponsors out there listening, man, please respond to my emails. Right? Because the primary reason is part of our sponsorship agreement is that we're going to promote some of the items that they send, and in order for us to do that, we've got to have them in hand, right?
Right on.
And if we have everybody send them that last week in April, I mean, I don't know how we're going to get through it all. So the earlier I get them, the earlier we're going to jump on and promote them and talk about what they're doing and, you know, that kind of thing. So
Right.
Absolutely.
yeah. But it's cool, man. Thank you guys.
Appreciate everybody, man. You guys stepped up. Like Joe said, you know, we answer them emails. We need those products. The quicker we have them, the more we can show them off.
Adam, do you mind if I just mention a couple of them real quick? I want to talk about the platinum guys.
By all means, and you know, that's where I'm headed next is, so like if there's something that I missed that you guys want to highlight about the event, about any of this stuff, by all means go that direction. I'll just kick the floor your way and share that info.
Okay, cool. So I just want to talk real quickly about the platinum sponsors. These are the guys that stepped up and are really putting their foot in and saying, you know, hey, we're in. And a lot of these guys are actually coming out to the event, so it's going to be cool. First off, we got Dan Davidson with Beef Tubes. He's a platinum level sponsor. I mean, Dan had a lot of conversation. Apparently, he's going to come out, so that's going to be cool to meet Dan in person. Everybody there runs his stuff at some level. So I think it's a good representation for what needs to happen there. Also, Team Brood, Eddie Goodridge, he's going to be we've been going back and forth a lot. He's going to be sending us some really cool stuff. So if you don't have any experience with the Team Brood motor, here's your opportunity to get some. So thank you, Eddie. We appreciate it. KTM Hobby, Pat Kinney. I think Pat's actually coming out. So we had some communication this week. He's going to send me a care package, and I'm super excited to see what he's got in store for us. But I told him, send me something new and different that we haven't seen before. And so we'll see what he comes up with. But Pat, thank you so much. And then, of course, the infamous, illustrious AJ Condon from Super Shafty is stepping up. He's also coming out. And, man, thank you, brother. I appreciate your time. He's going to be sending us some cool stuff as well. And I think everybody's pretty much familiar with what they do. But hopefully I might get something new and fresh we haven't seen yet. I don't know. Cross our fingers.
I think Super Shafty may also have a mobile store on the site as well for any breakage or anything. Not positive about that yet. He's stuck on whether he's going to fly or drive. So
right.
Go either way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure from AJ it'd be a fair amount of distance to you guys. So
that's pretty good.
That would make sense. The conundrum of fly or drive, I get. So.
And then last but not least, Matt Ottman with Team Ot 6 Racing. Matt, we appreciate everything you do for us. Huh? Sorry, we got one more. Matt Ottman, thanks for everything, man. I know you're going to have some cool stuff. I don't think the KLRMs aren't going to be ready by then.
The KLRM is going to be really, really close. And I do believe Matt's going to have a small store on site as well.
Awesome.
You might see those at Zia Scale Nationals for the first time.
I do believe you're going to see some, whether they're a runnable version or not. I'm pretty sure you'll see them out there.
At least a prototype.
Yeah.
There you go.
And then last but not least, I said that earlier, but that's not what I meant. Proline is stepping up as well. So I'm sure we're going to be seeing some pretty cool stuff from them. Probably the standard, high rack stuff. And we had one other too.
But, it's a hard process. There's a lot of people you got to remember.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to just hit the platinums, and I had them mixed up on my list. But Paul Wilhite over at Proline, thank you, brother. We appreciate all the support you're going to be giving us. And then, last but not least, again, Ben Morin, or however you pronounce that, Toyzuki, the winningest scale chassis probably on the market.
Last 3 years.
Last 3 years, I think he's topped C2. Super cool, sporty lean chassis. It's the place to be if you're a comp crawler in the scale world right now. So, so all those guys, thank you, Platinum sponsors.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So, guys, from my end, I just have to ask, what should we expect to see next from you guys? Like, I know that Scale Nationals is coming, and I'm sure you're all wrapped up in that, but anything, any projects, builds, things in that realm. I'm laughing so hard right now inside because Ben just like wrote it's Morin. Like,
that's how we always respond. He just writes it.
Like, we can't tell the pronunciation based off of the fact that you wrote your last name there. That's hilarious. Amazing. So thank you, Ben, for the comic relief.
One big thing that, you know, I've been thinking about even before I brought on SORRCA Scale Nationals was the national championship for comp crawling. It's going to be hosted in the United States again in 2020, and man, I would love to be a contestant for that. And so would our club and our rock, man. It's just completely epic. I've only seen one other place better than our rock, and that's Prescott, Arizona. They have some epic stone out there as well.
It's so hot.
It is really. I mean, we're hot, but they're hotter. If you can imagine that. You asked what big things they got in plan. That's one of my plans. Whether it happens or not, who knows? You know,
we'll be bidding on it.
I'd definitely like to throw my hat in there.
I feel like Ben and Will are trying to send you a message that you may have forgotten to mention RC 4-wheel drive in the thank you to the sponsors.
I wasn't done.
Oh, there you go. That's right. He was just holding that one back there, guys. There was no forgetting.
But those guys ruined it, man. So I'll answer the question, and then we'll talk about RC 4-wheel drive. But
absolutely.
So for me, I'm fully behind Scott, and going after that. I mean, that'd be a great put us on the map event. I don't know. Maybe we'll go after a couple other events, but personally, I mean, build wise, I think I'll probably put out a couple chassis this year. I'm a big one-off guy, so once it's done, that's the last one. So I'll probably put out a couple more tube chassis, and you'll probably see those floating around out there. But just try to do something new and edgy and something that people haven't seen before. Yeah.
Right. All right. Awesome.
So now that you brought it up, Ben, thank you. I was going to close with that, but I wanted to just take a minute and talk about RC 4-wheel drive and what they're doing for the event. So they're the title sponsor. They've helped with graphics. They're helping with driver bags. They're helping with everything that's needed to run the event from a sponsor standpoint. And Tom Allen's been great to work with. And I believe his crew is actually coming out. So we'll get to shake hands and rub bumpers with those guys. And I'm really glad that they stepped up. Tim Samuels actually set up the intro and kind of made it happen for us. And it was a very short list of who we were going to go after for the title, and I'm really glad we ended up where we did. And so thank you, RC 4-wheel drive, for allowing us to run this under your name. It's a big deal. It really is. So yeah, definitely.
Awesome, guys. So from my end, I don't have anything else other than to say thank you for being on and passing on all this great information about the SORRCA Nationals. I do actually have one more question. I wish I'd have asked it earlier. The Zia part, the ZIA in front of the Scale Nationals. What is that? Like, it's not something I'm familiar with. What's that piece?
It's a Pueblo tribe from here, and it's also the sun symbol.
Yeah, okay. It's like kind of a symbol that's on the New Mexico state flag. They call it a Zia. If you Google it, you'll see the image. But yeah, it's called a Zia, and it's a tribe that was from New Mexico.
Awesome, absolutely. I just was like, I forgot to ask that when we were talking about it earlier on. It just popped up, and I was like, okay, I better ask. So, I mean, regardless of all of the other stuff, thank you for being on. I appreciate it. I appreciate that you guys took your time out and came on the show. talked about Scale Nats and gave all that info. Your links for Scale Nationals are down in the video description. You're going to send me the one for the New Mexico stuff, and I'll put that inside of the video description as well. Anything I'm missing? Anything else you want me to add before I kind of wrap things up and end the episode?
Thanks again, Adam. We appreciate you putting us on. I was stoked when you said yes to this.
Absolutely.
We just appreciate the opportunity to be on your show, because I know it does have a lot of viewers, man. And if you haven't got your tickets, guys, get out there, get them. We haven't quite sold out. We're slowly chipping away at it, but I really would like to sell the event out. We're not quite there. So
hotels are going to sell out, guys. If you have a inclination of coming, get your hotel, man. Those will sell out. And not only at the event hotel, but all around the cities, even 50, 60 miles within our region here. They're going to sell out. So get your hotels booked, get those tickets, come out and have some fun with us.
Absolutely.
All right. So one last time, thank you guys for being on. I'm going to close things out here and kind of end what's up. And I'll be talking to you guys later on.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
We'll
thank
see
you
you
guys.
later.
Yep.
We'll see you later.
Yeah. See ya. All right, guys. So that does it for this evening's episode. Next week I have on actually Eddie Goodridge. So he'll be on. We talked about Team Brood and Eddie a little bit back here as one of the sponsors for Scale Nats. So that's who's on next week. I'll be getting a hold of him and talking to him about all kinds of great stuff associated with Brood and his motors and all the stuff he's got going on there. So I want to thank them one more time for being on, both Scott and Joe. It was great having them on. Good to talk to them. Basically, go down into the video description, follow the link, check out all of the stuff in regards to Scale Nationals and so on and so forth. From my end, thank all of you for tuning in. I genuinely appreciate it. I hit a big milestone for me this week, which was 500 subscribers over on my YouTube channel, where you guys are at right now. So if you're not currently subscribed to the YouTube channel and you haven't hit that alert bell, please do so, because you will get notified every time I go live, every time the show pops up, every time I announce an event for a new interview. All of that information will come to you and you won't have to seek it out through Facebook. So without further ado, thank you all for tuning in this week. If it wasn't for all of you, it would just be me talking to a camera in my basement, and no one wants to see that. So until next time, thank you guys for tuning in.